Welcome to Kuma English Listening Hub. In this episode, we will explore a surprising and creative idea, book crossings. Have you ever found a book on a park bench with a note that says, "Take me, read me, and pass me on"? That is a book crossing. Today, you will learn what book crossings are, how they work, why people enjoy them, and how they are turning cities into open-air libraries. As you listen, try to imagine the scenes I describe. Picture the books, the people, and the places. This will help you understand and remember new vocabulary. Let's begin with a simple question. What is a book crossing? A book crossing is a way to share books with strangers in public spaces. Instead of keeping a book on your shelf at home, you release it into the world. You leave it in a place where someone else can find it, like on a bus seat, in a cafe, on a park bench, or in a small public book box. The new reader can take the book, read it, and then release it again for another person. Book crossings are based on one main idea. Books should travel. They should not stay in one place. They should move from hand to hand and from city to city. In this way, one book can create a long chain of readers, and a simple street can become part of a giant, invisible library. You might be wondering, where did this idea come from? The modern book crossing movement started in the early 2000s. A small group of book lovers created a website where people could register their books and give them a unique ID number. They wrote this number inside the book together with a short message. Then they left the book in a public place. When another person found the book, they could visit the website, enter the ID number, and write a short note about where they found it. Later, when they passed the book on, the next reader could do the same. In this way, the journey of a single book could be followed online. A book might start in one country, travel by train to another, cross an ocean in someone's suitcase, and finally arrive on the shelf of a small cafe in a different part of the world. The path of the book becomes a kind of travel story, and all the readers are part of that story. Today, the idea of book crossing has grown and changed. Some people still use websites and ID numbers, but many simply share books more informally. The spirit is the same. Let books live new lives in new hands. Now, let's look at how book crossings actually work in everyday life. Imagine you have a novel that you enjoyed, but you know you will not read it again. You decide to turn it into a traveling book. First, you write a short note inside the cover. It might say something like, "This is a free book. Please take it, read it, and then leave it somewhere for the next reader." You are part of its journey. You might also write your first name and the city where you released it. Next, you choose a place to leave the book. The place is important. It should be somewhere safe and visible, where people can easily see the book and feel comfortable taking it. A dry bench in a busy park is a good choice. A table in a quiet cafe also works well. Some people like to leave books on trains or buses, where travelers may have time to read. You place the book there and walk away. Your part, for the moment, is finished. You do not know who will take the book. You do not know when they will find it. This mystery is part of the fun. You have started a story that you cannot control. Now, imagine the other side of the story. A stranger is walking through the park and sees your book on the bench. They pick it up and read the note inside. They are surprised and maybe a little confused. Is this really free? Are they allowed to take it? The friendly message inside helps them feel sure. Yes, this book is meant to be shared. They decide to take the book home. They read it over the next week. Maybe they love it, maybe they only like it a little, but they remember the note. When they finish, they take a pen and add a line under your message, such as, "Read in September in this city, now sending it on." Then they choose a new place for the book and release it again. Over time, that one book might be read by 10, 20, or even 50 people. It might travel to another neighborhood, another town, or another country. Every time it moves, it creates a small and positive interaction between strangers. Now, let's talk about a special part of book crossings: book boxes. In many cities and small towns, people have created tiny public libraries on the street. Some look like little wooden houses with glass doors. Others are simple metal boxes or colorful cabinets. These are often called little free libraries or book boxes. Anyone can open the door, take a book, and leave a book. These boxes are like permanent book crossing stations. They have clear rules. Take a book, leave a book, or simply return the book after you read it. The books are free. There are no library cards, no late fees, and no librarians telling you to be quiet. The community takes care of the box. Local people check it, keep it clean, and sometimes organize the books. Book boxes often stand in front of schools, in quiet streets, near playgrounds, or next to bus stops. Some are decorated by local artists or children. They become small landmarks in the neighborhood, and people feel proud of them. These little libraries are especially helpful in places where there are not many traditional libraries or bookstores. They make reading more accessible. Children can discover colorful picture books on their way home from school. Adults can find novels, cookbooks, travel guides, or even language learning books. So, why do people like book crossing so much? There are several reasons. First, book crossings create a feeling of surprise and joy. Finding a free book in an unexpected place feels a bit like finding a small treasure. You did not plan it, but suddenly a new story appears in your life. Second, they build a quiet connection between strangers. You may never meet the person who released the book before you, but you still share something. You both read the same story. You both touch the same pages. When you add a note in the book, you are writing to future readers. This creates a sense of community, even without direct contact. Third, book crossings support a culture of sharing instead of throwing away. Many people have books at home that they will never open again. Instead of letting them collect dust, they can send them into the world. This reduces waste and gives books a second life. Fourth, book crossings can encourage reading among people who may not usually buy books. For some, books can be expensive. For others, a busy life makes visiting a library difficult. But if a book appears directly in front of them, on a park bench or at a bus stop, they might decide to give it a try. Finally, book crossings add character to a city. They turn ordinary spaces into places of curiosity. A waiting room becomes more interesting with a small shelf of shared books. A simple street corner becomes a place of stories when a little library appears there. Of course, book crossings are not perfect. There are some challenges. Sometimes, books get damaged by rain, snow, or strong sun. If someone leaves a book outside without protection, the weather can quickly ruin it. That is why book boxes with doors, or covered areas like bus shelters, are better than open benches in some climates. Another problem is that some books are never passed on. A person may take a book and simply keep it. The journey ends there. This is not against the rules, because book crossings are based on trust and freedom, but it can be a little sad for the person who hoped the book would travel farther. There is also the question of space. In busy cities, it can be difficult to find a legal and safe place to put a book box. It may require permission from local authorities or building owners. Without proper planning, a box could be removed. Despite these challenges, many communities have found creative solutions. Volunteers add small notes that explain how to care for the books. Some groups organize events to clean and repair book boxes. Others ask local businesses, like cafes or shops, to host small shelves for traveling books inside their buildings. Now, let's look at how you, as an English learner, can use book crossings to improve your language skills. If there is a book box or book crossing project in your city, you can search for books in English. Even if most books are in your native language, you might sometimes find English novels, short story collections, or children's books. Children's books can actually be very useful because the language is often clear and the stories are short. When you find an English book, try this simple approach. First, read the back cover and the first page. Ask yourself, is this interesting for me? Do I understand at least 70% of the text without a dictionary? If yes, it is probably a good choice. Second, read a little every day, even just a few pages. Notice new words, but do not stop too often to look them up. Focus on the story. You can write down a few important new words after each chapter. Third, when you finish the book, write a short message inside the cover before you release it again. You can write in English. For example, you might say, I read this book to practice English. I enjoyed the characters and the ending. I hope you will like it too. This is real communication with a future reader, and it helps you practice writing. If there are no book crossings in your area yet, you could start a simple one. You do not need a website or a big project. You could begin with a small shelf in your workplace, school, or apartment building. Put a sign that says, "Take a book, leave a book." Offer some books in your language and a few in English. Over time, other people may join in. You could also write a short note in two languages, your language and English. This is an excellent way to practice translation and to share your love of reading with others. Now, let's think about the emotional side of book crossings. In a world where many interactions happen online, book crossings are beautifully physical. You feel the weight of the book, you see the handwriting of other readers, you notice small signs of use like folded corners or underlined sentences. These marks tell you that other people spent time with this book. It becomes more than just a product. It becomes an object with a personal history. Some readers say that book crossings have changed the way they see their city. Instead of just walking quickly from one place to another, they pay attention to small details. They look around for book boxes. They check windowsills, community boards, and cafe corners. They discover new streets and local spots while searching for new stories. In this way, book crossings can even become a hobby, similar to a treasure hunt. People share information online about where they have left books, and others try to find them. This turns reading into a social and playful activity. Before we finish, let's review the main ideas from this episode. A book crossing is the practice of leaving books in public places so that strangers can find them, read them, and pass them on. Some people use websites and ID numbers to follow the journey of their books, while others simply write friendly notes inside and let fate decide. Book boxes or little free libraries are small public shelves where people can take and leave books. They are often managed by local communities and can be found in many neighborhoods around the world. Book crossings create surprise, build quiet connections between strangers, support sharing and reduce waste, encourage reading, and add personality to cities and towns. There are challenges such as weather damage, limited space, and books that do not continue their journey. However, volunteers and communities often find creative solutions. As an English learner, you can use book crossings to find free English books, practice reading regularly, and write short notes to future readers. You can also start a small book sharing space in your own environment. To finish, I invite you to imagine this. You are walking through your city and you find a book on a bench. Inside, there are three short notes in different languages from people in different countries. One of them is in English, written by another learner like you. You read their words and you feel a connection. You take the book home, read it, and then add your own message in English before you release it again. In that simple moment, you are not only practicing a language, you are also joining a global circle of readers who believe that stories are meant to be shared. Thank you for listening to Kuma English Listening Hub. If you enjoyed this episode, you can listen again to catch more details, or shadow the audio by speaking along with it to practice your pronunciation. See you next time, and maybe one day see you on the pages of a traveling book.